Y'all know what time it is. It's Jennelle Eliana time. Let's talk about why she's kind of still a big deal. Let's do it. Alright guys, so after going crazy viral with her first 2 videos and everyone like just going nuts and saying, hey,
maybe this is all fake, maybe the subscribers were bought, maybe she's an industry plant and all these other things.
Basically alluding to the fact that, she didn't earn any of those subscribers and she just kind of was handed them and, it was all rigged. I don't know if I'd necessarily buy that, and I think her 3rd and her 4th videos are proof that she did not have it all rigged for her. So let's talk about that. And let's talk about what happened with video 3 and video 4 and the takeaways that you can get from it to grow your YouTube channel. So lots of goodies in this one. Stay tuned. So video number 3 was a big departure from the way her first 2 videos were. Her first 2 videos were much more kinda just taking you behind the scenes, showing you what her life is like, kind of giving a tour and showing you like how she deals with certain situations, like how she takes showers living in a van, and basically like literally taking you on camera and allowing you to see all that, right? And I think video 3 was a bit of a misstep. Now, this is kind of the crazy part is like, look, you got YouTubers like me who don't have as big a channels as she does talking about, well, this is what she could have done better, right? It's kind of a weird little situation. But it's kind of cool how through her growing this massive audience, she's kind of come under the lens so quickly after putting out 3 freaking videos. Think about that. Okay, so video 3, I think, was not necessarily a bad video. It was still an interesting video, kind of give you a little bit more insight into what's going on with her. So if you don't know what video 3 was about, I'm really gonna break it down, the difference between that and the other videos, and then also the one after, video number 4. So the 3rd video was more of just, hey, Q&A. Like there was all these questions because she just went so crazy viral. She obviously addressed that early in the video, and then went on to talk about, all the little questions that started popping up. Most of the questions, not if her subscribers were fake, but she kind of alluded to that. But she just kind of was addressing all the questions that people started having about, her life and how things are for her and, what she does for work and all this other stuff. And I don't think it was uninteresting, but it didn't have the same effect as the other videos for a couple reasons. Reason numero uno. The overall concept of the video was fine, I think, but even then, I don't think the topic was quite as interesting. It was just more broad, like Q&A. It's just more about her, and not that the other videos weren't about her, but they kind of gave more insight into an interesting situation, if that makes sense. What it's like to live in a van, what it's like to be able to shower when you're living in a van, how you go about that process. So it's something I feel like everyone can kind of pull from and be interested in, whereas that one was just more focused on her. Not to say she's not interesting, not to say she's not worth people's attention, not to say that channels and videos that are about that can't be as successful, but it just didn't have quite as much of that draw because it was a Q&A video. And I think more importantly, that led to 2 other issues, which are huge on YouTube if you want to grow. The first issue is that video didn't show as much as the other videos. And what I mean by show is all the other videos use a lot of camera work to kind of take you around her van and, literally around it at the beginning in the very first video and get some cool shots all around it, kind of show it by the ocean, so it kind of builds a nice vibe that way. Showing all the different little things that she has in the van and getting really up close with them. All that stuff, just top to bottom. Both of them had kind of unique introductions and really showed you everything that she was talking about with lots of close-ups and B-roll and just literally allowing you to visually see it, versus video number 3, it was a Q&A and it was more her explaining and talking and things like that. And because of that, I feel like most viewers probably didn't find it quite as interesting, which will affect watch time. Me and my wife, we watched both of her first 2 videos, thought they were awesome. I'm not saying the 3rd one was bad. We still thought it was interesting, but we both agreed like, okay, it just wasn't as enticing and engaging as the other ones. And I think because of that, she probably lost some watch time on it and audience retention, which is a big factor YouTube's gonna look at, is how many minutes do people watch of the video total. So if you got a 10-minute video, that's gonna get more watch time than a video that's 2 minutes typically. And then on top of that, what percentage of the video are people watching? So it probably didn't get as many people watching all the way to the end. The other issue, which is gonna sound like 2 things, but it's actually one, that having a Q&A video led to, was number 1, the thumbnail wasn't as intriguing. She could have maybe still changed it. I mean, just because it's a Q&A video doesn't mean you can't have a cool thumbnail. But then even if the thumbnail catches your attention, you see the title, it's Q&A, you know, just kind of giving the impression that the video is going to be about her answering questions, it just automatically leads you to think that it's going to be kind of what the video ended up being, which is just her in front of the camera talking and not really showing you around as much. And yeah, it's just not as exciting to want to check out a video about that. So because of that, the title and the thumbnail not being as good, it probably led to a click-through rate that wasn't as good, and that's why it's not getting as many views as their first, second, or fourth video. Most likely that, and the watch time being a factor. Obviously there's a lot of factors that go into a YouTube video being successful, but those are two of the biggest ones: watch time and click-through rate. So let's talk about why video 3 and video 4 had such a difference and how video 4 in my opinion was better. And let's look specifically at the title and the thumbnail. So I'm gonna pull up Jennelle Eliana's channel right here on my iPhone. There we go. So let's look at video 3. Why do I live in a van? Q&A. So I really don't think that's a bad title. Why do I live in a van? I think the issue is that little Q&A after, because that leads you to believe that it's going to be the video it was, which is her talking into the camera, especially when you take into context the thumbnail just shows her sitting there. Yeah, she's doing a kind of cool pose, right? It kind of leads the impression that, okay, she's going to be just talking to the camera in this one. And that's kind of what the video was, right? So it just doesn't seem quite as intriguing. So because of that, the click-through rate's probably not going to be quite as good. So those little details make a big difference. Literally a Q, ampersand, I think that's how you say it, the and symbol, and an A. That's it. Changes it dramatically. If it was just why do I live in a van, I think it would have changed things. And also on the thumbnail side of things, I think there's something she did not capitalize in video 3 that she did in video 4. Let's talk about that. Okay. So video number 4, a day in my life. That sounds very similar to video 3 if you ask me. Why do I live in a van and a day in my life? It's basically kind of talking about what her life is like for both of them, right? And how she lives. But very different effect in terms of the click-through rate, probably. I haven't seen her analytics, but on top of that, like, it just sounds a little more interesting. So like, I think just there's more people that are gonna wanna watch it and more people that are gonna click because of that. So based just on that alone, I can almost guarantee that click-through rate is higher. So that's the first thing, is I just think the title sounds a little more interesting. And the other thing it leads the mind to is a day in my life. It makes me think, she's gonna take me out and about and show me what she does on a day-to-day basis and really show me like she did in video 1 and video 2. So that's probably gonna get the click, and it's probably gonna get the watch time if it delivers on that. And you know what? She did deliver on it, and that's what the video was about. It was all more her showing, just like videos 1, videos 2, and really taking you into what things look like, what she experiences, so you could feel that, be a part of the journey a little bit more instead of hearing her explain it, which, you know, is fine, but being able to actually go on the journey with her, see the details, all that, it makes a huge difference in the audience retention. And if people get the impression that that's what the video is going to have within it, the click-through rate is going to go up, which it did. But there's one even bigger thing that I think led to that higher click-through rate. So here's what it is. Let's take a look at that thumbnail one more time, and I want to give you a second to try to answer. So drop your comments. What's in common between video 1, video 2, and video 4? Video 4 is at the top. And what is different about video 3? Drop your comments. So, what the big difference is, David, my editor, give these people a second to answer. The big thing that changed is the van, right? The van is in the first and the second video. She blew up with that van in the picture. So when she did the third video, nothing wrong with changing things up with your thumbnails from time to time. I think that's a good thing. But it's pretty apparent that that fourth video is doing better. And I think a lot of it actually has to do with something as simple as the van, because it's immediately recognizable. It's become this icon for people that have seen her videos. And all she really changed in it is like the first 2 videos that she uploaded, it's her kind of like in front of the van or in the van, right? Well, the fourth one is her in front of the van again, showing the whole van so you can see the big blue outside, and all she really did was flip it around and wear kind of a funny outfit, right? Some, looks like she's going snorkeling. And just like all the other videos, she's kind of doing something goofy in it, right? I mean, all the thumbnails, well, the first one, she's kind of looks like she's like striking a pose in the van. And then if you go to video 2, she's wearing, looks like a towel and her shower cap and all that stuff, so that's kind of goofy. Third one, she's just, you know, doing the yoga pose. That's kind of goofy, kind of fun, right? Showing her quirky personality. And then the fourth one, right? So all of them, she's kind of got that common element, which I think is great. It catches people's attention. It looks a little bit different. But the other thing I think that if you notice when you're just talking thumbnails, typically simple, clean does better. And if you look at these other thumbnails, her standing in front of the van, a big blue van, makes for a nice, like, simple background. And then besides that, it's just basically brown gravel below the van, some black top below the van, and that's pretty much it. But the third thumbnail, it's her inside the van, and she's wearing white and pink, and behind there's all this different stuff that's white and pink, and it just looks a little cluttered and not quite as clear. So just take a look at it, right? And when you're looking at things on a mobile device, those little things make a big difference. Like if you pull it back, it's a little bit harder to tell what's going on in that third upload versus the other two. So you want to try to get all of your thumbnails to have a nice, easy to understand visual. So the second you see it, you can start to get a feel for what it's about. You can see the person in it, which is big. And then from there, that'll get your attention enough to where you'll hopefully look at the title. And if the title pulls you in, then you're gonna click. The other big thing we gotta talk about is a key. We talked about watch time, right? So audience retention is big. I'm pulling it up on my phone right now. Also pay attention between video 3 and video 4, there's one thing that's dramatically different. So video 4 is at the top, video 3 is the one right below it. Okay, the big difference, leave your comments. The big difference is video 4 clocks in at 21 minutes and 19 seconds, video 3, 12 minutes and 1 second. So that means one video is almost twice as long as the other one. So what do you think happens when you do that? More watch time, right? Now, I'm not saying you necessarily are always going to be better off making a longer video, but if you can keep people's attention and the video is interesting and engaging and you do what she does and switch things up with the camera angles, the editing, and take people on a journey and let them see different things constantly and bring some personality and charisma and have things kind of moving along towards something throughout the video, there's a really good chance people will stick around to the end, and now you get more watch time, and YouTube loves watch time. They love keeping people on their platform so they can show more ads to people. So she capitalized on that with video 4, video 3. It was about the same length, honestly, as video 2, but I just think with video 2, it probably got more click-through rate, and the watch time was still probably better just because, again, it was a more engaging video, so it probably kept more people to the end. So that's the difference between both video 2 and video 3, and also video 3 and video 4. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I do not think Jennelle is an industry plant, or her views were bought, or her subscribers were bought, or anything. Because ultimately, I think she kind of missed the mark a little bit on the third one compared to our other two videos. Now, that's not me knocking her. It's still a phenomenal video, still very interesting. She still brought her awesome personality to it. I just don't think it was as good as her other ones. Her other ones have been performing quite very, very well, actually, like astronomically well. So this is not a knock on her whatsoever. I'm one of these people out here saying, like, give her some credit, right? And I think this is proof, though, that she's not an industry plant, which is awesome. I think it's very cool to have other people have some level of success to look up to from someone that just blows up like overnight, right? I've mentioned a few times how, like, my wife, her very first video, I think it's about a little over a year old now, a year and a half maybe, and it's got 500,000 views. Very first upload. So it is possible. Amazing things can happen on YouTube if you're smart, if you take your time to craft a good video, which I really helped my wife with, getting the thumbnail and the title right and the whole concept for the video. Like, all the details matter. But if you don't get those details right, then it could be an issue. And I just really think what happened with Jennelle Eliana is she managed to get that all figured out. She figured out what makes a good video, what keeps people's interest. You can see it in the edits. You can see it in the way she films. You can see it in the way she presents herself on camera with the concepts of the videos. She rode an awesome trend, which, she just happened to be living, which is van life. And you bring all those pieces together and it can turn into something absolutely incredible. And I know there's some people that said her videos look way too professional, the audio quality was too good, and this and that. And honestly, I don't think so. There's a lot of parts where I saw where it's like, it was very well done overall. Like, again, this is not a knock, but there was definitely some moments where the video was kind of a little like grainy because of, there wasn't very good lighting and there was some wind noise here and there and things like that. Like, there was enough imperfections, I guess you could call them, that I think kept it from being a professional level video. And I think in some ways, like, that's part of what made the video cool too, though, is like, it felt like a real human being. It didn't feel like someone making a pristine production. Like, it was well done in the editing, the presentation, the way she filmed it, all that stuff, but it wasn't perfect. And it kept it human. And I think that's something important to remember as creators is, you know, on YouTube, you're not expected to be perfect. You're expected to just be you, you know, and a few imperfections, there's a good example. Some imperfections are going to be okay. That's what YouTube's about. It's about real people connecting, and it doesn't have to be a show. This isn't Netflix. This isn't, you know, cable TV or anything that way. It's free. So do you. That being said, if you want to know more about how I think Jennelle Eliana really blew up, I will have a playlist linked to the comments down below. It covers a couple different videos I did on her already. This will be the third one, talking about how I feel like she really earned her subscribers and earned her views. Very interesting topics if you want to grow your YouTube channel or if you're just interested in Jennelle Eliana. Be sure you subscribe and click that bell icon to catch the newest videos, and I will see you in that playlist. Be sure to watch all those videos next.